Hey, hello everyone. My name is Daina Trout. I'm CEO and co-founder of Health-Ade Kombucha. If you haven't tried kombucha before, it's fermented tea, naturally rich in probiotics. A little bit vinegary, but it'll make you feel good. My background is I started this company in my closet with my husband and best friend Vanessa 4 short years ago with about $600. And currently we're 50 employees deep. We got 5,000 stores nationwide and just closed a $15 million fund. So happy to answer any questions.
Great. Hi, my name is Gonzalez. I'm the co-founder and head of business development for .Studio Pro. We're a video management and monetization platform, and we power companies to be able to go across platform and device to direct to consumer, much like the Netflix environment. But so it's a white label for clients. Started the company 6 years ago as a service company with $10,000 line of credit. Debt.
Nice. No equity.
3 founders, founded it in Vancouver, Canada. After 3 years of building with client money, we sold a Photoshop mock to our first client, which was a broadcaster. And after that client basically funded us to get started, we built the company over 3 years, and then an investor came in and invested $750, and to date we've, in 3 years, have raised 1.25, and we're going out for our 5 million round right now. I have been the bulldog of our company. I'm pretty much the face when it comes to raising the money. As a Canadian black woman in America, raising money, lots to share. So I'll pass it over this way.
Sure. My name is Charlene Wu, and I just want to say, Uber, we have Health-Ade Kombucha on tap in our offices.
Yes. Oh yes, we have it in ours.
Yes, and I am also a Canadian. I am too, by the way. We share a lot in common. So I created and currently lead the labs team at Uber. What we do is we advise and consult our operations teams all around the world on how to solve Uber's toughest business challenges through experimentation and research. In addition to global operations, we also collaborate on R&D projects across product, engineering, marketing, business development, people, finance, you name it. And the team is comprised of behavioral scientists like myself who are just really passionate about applying experimentation, statistics, and teaching to drive innovation in business. My background is in psychology. I have a PhD from Stanford, where I did my dissertation work in a field called neuroeconomics. I was using brain imaging to predict financial risk-taking. So you would be a very interesting subject there. You know, before that, I actually am a very proud Bruin. I did my two undergraduate degrees here at UCLA in economics and psychology.
Wow.
So, great to be back.
Cool. My name is Campbell. I'm the CEO of Quantasy. Quantasy is a digital agency where we focus on 2 core elements of business. One is integrated digital marketing, where we work with Fortune 500 clients like Honda and Google and Sony to create digital marketing campaigns for their products, services, releases, etc. And then on the other part, we are a venture studio where we work with celebrities, entertainers, and athletes to create straight-to-market digital businesses, where we work with Magic Johnson, Kevin Hart, Dwayne Wade, in bringing those 2 worlds together, marketing and entertainment, and underpinned by technology.
My name is Rachel Bullock. I'm the COO of Render Media. Render Media owns and operates 2 verticals, news and politics, our website, Opposing Views, and Cooking Panda. When I started the company, I was a project manager. I was the 5th employee in the office. I was the only woman in the office. We've been growing like crazy. Right now we have like 25 million social followers, 310 video views a month. 310 million video views a month, and the team has grown, especially in the last year, like you wouldn't believe. Last year at this time we had 12 full-time employees, and now we have about 50. So it's been really a wild ride lately.
Great. Well, we're ready for the introduction. I'm going to get into some of the questions now. I must say, I'm going to have to go with Daina first. What motivated you to start your business?
For those of you entrepreneurs out there, I'm sure you can relate. I got what they call the entrepreneurial itch about 4 years ago. Just felt like there was a mark I needed to make, something bigger for me out there, had something to say, didn't know what that was at first. And so I started an entrepreneur club with my husband and best friend, and invited everyone, but only the three of us showed up. So that pretty much dictated the start of our founding team. And basically, you know, we, through a roundabout way, I had been making kombucha for a long time, and for a roundabout way, we kind of ran out of ideas, because I mentioned we only had 600 bucks. So I knew kombucha was inexpensive to make at home. I've since learned it's not inexpensive to make when you sell it out to the world, but at home. And so we started in the farmer's market, and it was just a lesson to me that your idea doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be brilliant, you don't even have to be the first to market. You just have to do it better, and like, I love the word hustle, because that's exactly what it's taken the last 4 years. So started it from an entrepreneurial itch, and we just went with the first idea, and here we are.
Cool. Phoenix, same question. What motivated you to start the business?
Oh, geez. I have an interesting background. I never finished high school, and I went to college as a mature student for engineering, passed my entry-level exam with 98%, and then died in a car accident and spent 6 years of my life recovering. So I learned to walk, talk, read, write, do it all over again. So I was kind of lost after that as to what I was going to do with my life. So I spent quite a few years just recovering. I ended up becoming an actress because I couldn't get cognitive therapy, so I retrained my brain that way. And moved to LA from Canada after having a thriving career as an actress, moved here and was like, oh God, I'm a little fish in a big pond here. What am I doing here? I was really successful, even though I had no idea what I was doing in Canada. I was successful. So I got into corporate sales. I became the #1 salesperson for a company backed by JP Morgan and General Electric, made them millions of dollars, and got sick of the fact that I was just a little person on a totem pole and not really seeing a corporation not do the things that I thought a corporation should do. So I let myself get fired. After I was like, okay, I'm going to plan 6 months, I'm going to map it out, I'm going to let myself get fired, and I'm going to start my own company. I was like, what am I going to do? I don't know. But my husband and myself were like, we'll figure it out. I was like, okay. Gemini and me, you know, adventurous. And we basically started a production company, won an award with YouTube, got picked up by a talent agency, United Talent Artists, and quickly realized in 2009 nobody knew what they were talking about when it came to digital media. And we had a post-production house as well, so we saw all these movies being made and no revenue being made. So we said, what's broken? It's the pipeline for distribution of video online. Lots of companies have come since we came with the idea. Again, it's always about execution. So when we started in 2010, we basically started with Photoshop mocks, and here we are 16 employees later, still climbing the ladder. So that's what drove it.
We'll do one more of these. Will, what motivated you?
How did I get started? That was the question?
Yeah.
What motivated you to start your business?
So what motivated me, I was always interested in entertainment. It was something that I wanted to do. And so I was, at the time, I guess the word would be sort of an apprentice for a really big film, TV, music producer. And I used to do things like put labels on CDs for him. As I was going down this path of helping him and thinking about going into the entertainment business, we used to put together these little like press kits or packages or things like that to pitch artists and shows and those kind of things. And one day I just got the idea, I called up a partner, and we, instead of giving them a print kind of EPK, we made a little website that had music and content and all this stuff together. And it became a hit project at Disney and Buena Vista, and so I realized that, wow, the ability to bring technology to content and entertainment is more powerful than to, sit around and put stickers on CDs. Mm-hmm. And so we started doing that. There weren't a lot of people doing it at the time, and just through that network of celebrities and entertainers, et cetera, we were able to build a business around that.
Cool, nice. Very cool. All right, so we're going to have a slight spin on a similar question. So Charlene, not everyone wants to start their own business, but many people possess the entrepreneurial spirit. How can women be entrepreneurs within their own companies? I know you're in a pretty big one. But at the same time, like we were talking before, Your job must be just totally awesome, because I would love to just get paid to make stuff up.
Yeah. I really love this question because I think entrepreneurship can be much broader than just starting your own company, and there's certainly opportunities to build and create within existing organizations. And what I've learned and what I want to share is that, you know, earlier the panel talked about thinking big, and I think, you know, it's not about, don't wait for your dream job or the dream role or project to ask for volunteers. Go and initiate that yourself. Go and ask about, hey, this is a really cool idea, here's how I can help. And that's actually how Labs came to be at Uber. So when I was looking for new roles to move into a couple years ago, I knew I wanted to use the skills as a behavioral scientist, kind of use experimentation as a problem-solving approach to optimize operations in a business. But there was no company and no job posting that was hiring for that. It didn't exist. And I just started looking for organizations that would be open to a conversation about it. And I was an active Uber user, and I was noticing that they were launching different products in different markets in different cities, and I had these questions I was really curious about. How does Uber operate market to market? Are there just universal best practices that they apply across all cities? Are there unique tweaks in different markets? And how do they decide what to do? Were they using experimentation? Were they using data and statistics in the right way? And if they were, or they wanted to, I wanted in. I wanted to be a part of that. And actually, with the help of a fellow Bruin, I was able to meet with Austin Geit, who's the head of launch at Uber. And together we just talked about this huge opportunity that had been untapped about using experimentation at Uber, the interest from operations teams about wanting to innovate and wanting to come up with better solutions than what they had, but there was no structure of actually how to do this in the company, and that was where Labs took off. And I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunity, but my story is certainly not unique. I've heard similar stories from so many of my colleagues, and again, just go out there, initiate it, figure out what the problem is, figure out how you want to help, and just talk to someone about it. And this can happen anywhere for anyone.
Cool. So going to kind of change the angle a little bit here. So Rachel, what is your relationship with your CEO, and how has that partnership contributed to your success within the company?
Okay.
I know a lot of the women we've spoken or that I've heard talk today talk about their different relationships with other individuals and how that can kind of form the way they approach things. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Sure. I think that's a great question. First of all, our CEO, Vic Bellenalgoff, is a Bruin, so that's a good thing. We literally sit next to each other all day. We work together hand in hand all day long, and we have for 5 years. I think it's been an incredible relationship, an incredible journey. You know, like I said earlier, I started as a project manager. My background was in publishing and in technical project management, and I'm really grateful that I purposely went to smaller and smaller companies. I started at McGraw-Hill. I was at Sage, which is one of the biggest journal publishers in the world, and I just kept seeking out smaller environments. And I think partly for this opportunity to be able to be at a small company, work directly with the leadership, and keep growing. I just grab stuff. I mean, Vic is strategic, he's hands-on too, but he also gives space for people to grow, and I have been able to help replicate that at our company. There's a lot of opportunity in a small company like ours, and even in a big company like Uber that's growing. Professional development, I think, is something that Vic just left room for. He wasn't like, next I want you to do this. And I think that's the best way to encourage other women and other folks in your company to keep growing, is to give them the resources, give them the space, and just kind of get out of the way a little bit. At our company, we are really dedicated to professional development. I think a lot of larger companies kind of pay lip service to that. But I sit down with every single person every quarter and say, what are you going to work on this quarter for professional development? Is there a class you want to take? Vic never really said that to me. He didn't have to. I was really looking for the opportunity and the space to do that. And I've been able to grow through the company, through formal classes, through just taking stuff and grabbing it and doing it. And so I think we've got a nice balance there where we're working together. I'm learning from him, but I'm able to carve my own path and encourage other folks in our company to carve their own path too. We have a mentorship program that's very informal. Anyone can just meet with any of the executives anytime they want. But we also have a more formal job shadowing program. And like I said, professional development. So really working with him to establish that from the very beginning, I think, has helped us attract women, attract other folks to the company, and help them grow along their path too.
Cool. All right, so we're going to kind of shift it back over to a little bit more of the focus of the conference now. What are some of the unique challenges that you found when starting a business as a woman?
Oh, they continue to come. The most recent was, you can't be a woman and have blue hair and be a relevant CEO. So that was just one in passing. And I said, watch me. Yeah, I mean, I think it's, I think it was Joy that was speaking before, if I have that right, or it was Julie with the purple dress, but I think she said it right, that there is a mindset issue, and I was certainly one of those. When I came in, I had this great idea, and I had all of the capabilities, but for some reason I was thinking too small. And it's been a challenge along the journey to take those layers away, realize they don't serve me, and the bigger I think, and the more confidence I gain in myself and my capabilities that were always there, the better I do, and the more successful I am, and the more people respect me around me, regardless of whether they're women or men. So there was definitely some personal journeying along that route, but then also, of course, the challenges of, sexual advancements, comments about hair, and stuff like that. You just got to shrug that, as I say, shit off. And, just continue to build and believe in yourself. We have a tagline at Health-Ade called Follow Your Gut. And originally we came to that tagline because it was a probiotic tea, and, you follow your gut to kombucha. But actually now I realize how big that statement is and how important it was. And when I look back at the last 4 years and I think about the most important milestones we made, the most important decisions we made to get to where we are today, and by the way, we still have a far way to go, it has always been when I followed my gut. And that is something we all have. We don't need to take a class to get that. It's just about reconnecting with that gut. So, yeah, follow your gut.
So, Phoenix, same question. What are some of the unique challenges you faced, female entrepreneur? What did you do to overcome?
Well, I have a unique name. I have a name, Phoenix. So when people hear my name, they think I'm a guy. So walking into most, and then second, I'm not the CEO of the company, but I'm the face of the company. So when I walk into investment meetings, because my husband, I'm the opener in our company. But we always make a joke that if you look at the analogy of a hitchhiker, I'm the girl at the side of the road hitchhiking. Everybody likes me. They open the car door, and then my husband comes out and is like, hey!
We already committed.
So walking into a lot of meetings, I'm business development. I'm basically out raising the money while he's building the tech with the team. So walking into meetings, I always, for me, I am who I am, and you're going to like me or you're not going to like me, and I'm not going to care either way. It's just, I'm doing business. But when I've walked into a lot of investment meetings, the first response is they come out into the waiting room, they look around like they're looking for Phoenix, and then they look at the receptionist and they're like, is Phoenix here? And I'm like, yeah, I'm here, I'm right here. And they're like, oh. So it goes from like a big smile to, oh, so that's the first thing I'm greeted with. Okay, got to overcome that now. And then the color of my skin. Well, you don't sound black on the phone. And I've actually had that said to me. So, that's the next thing that I've had to face. And so for me, I'm always reminding myself when I walk into a room, like, I have the power to manifest what I want and the outcome of the situation that I'm walking into. So because of the data that I've basically, compiled over all my experiences, I now prepare myself when I walk into rooms, because my obstacles are, I'm female, I'm black, I'm not the CEO, I didn't finish high school, I didn't finish college, I've started all over again in my life, I'm 41, and people look at me, so I walk into a room with all these things against me. So I always have to be like, okay, I just have to manifest what I want and not worry about the rest of it. But those have been like the biggest obstacles for me, I would say. I mean, and I've overcome all of them because I don't take no as the answer. No is, we were born into this world to say no as a child when you start. Everything is no, 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 until you learn the rest of your conversational domain. So for me, I always look at no as, that's just the first response. They really want to say yes, but I just have to make sure that they know that it's okay to say no first. So, you know, like that for me has been a big thing. You know, when it comes to overcoming, it's first of all, not allowing the environment around me to affect my outcome, but allowing me to affect my outcome. And just knowing that these are the things, and being realistic about the things that I'm up against, and not feeling like I have to carry a chip on my shoulder or be upset because of the things that I have to face. But those are the things. Female, black, no formal education, and I'm doing it all anyways. Yeah. Oh, and I actually own a business with my husband, which is the hardest thing in the world to do. 365 days a year, we're overcoming the challenge of male and female energy, so testosterone and estrogen. We're dealing with insecurities. We're dealing with family, you know, personal stuff not seeping into the workplace. So those are the types of things you know.
You said one thing that really resonated with me because all of the staff members that I've had that were female said something very similar to you, and that was kind of more that they had that internal locus of control. It was that I am responsible for my destiny. I will kick down the door. I will succeed. Yeah. Get out of my way if you're in it.
Yeah.
You know, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, Rachel, what was it like to be working in a born digital company? How do you use technology on a daily basis to strengthen your business?
I think that's a great question because I came from a not born digital company. I came from McGraw-Hill, like maybe the oldest, most uncool publisher in the whole world. You know, and when I was there, when I first started my career, I kept gravitating toward the technical project, right? You make a textbook and there's 17 other components, and one of those is a website, and it's for the teacher, right, to like write stuff up about the kids, or for the kids to go on and like play a game or something. And so I kept feeling like that's the most interesting part of this project. I can't wait to get to the end when the book is done and we can work on the website. And I realized that was happening, and I purposely gravitated toward it. And I also realized the part of this that I like the best is the project management part. And also, publishing is going down, traditional publishing. So I really purposely like moved my career toward project management, technical project management, and working on, you know, digital media. So it's very refreshing to go to a company where that's how you started, right? I mean, you know, all of our sites are Drupal. Like, we started online. We never had print stuff anywhere. And I think one of the coolest things about that is that there's no legacy, like, operations. There's no, like, old way of doing stuff that you have to clean out and get rid of and convince people to change doing it. First of all, there's no one to convince. It's up to me. And second of all, like, that stuff wasn't there. And because we've been growing, and I've been there since the kind of the beginning of that growth, we just kind of add technology and add software and add apps and things that will help us as we need them. When we first started, we had ADP, right? Because we didn't know anything different, and we only had 5 people to pay, and it didn't matter. But now that we're growing, you know, we've added something, you know, Gusto. We've added just recently Bamboo, so people can onboard themselves. So as we're growing, we're solving these problems as we grow, as we need them. And I think that's just been incredible to be somewhere where we kind of have a fresh start, and you only add things as you need them, and you decide if you want to use them. It's up to me. Do I like this thing or not? I'm going to add it. So technology has, of course, been immensely helpful, especially with the growth lately. It's been amazing.
And that's definitely been true in my experience as well. It seems like when I consult for companies that are kind of more digital, there's no existing construct that we have to change.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like, okay, well, we don't really know what we're doing. We're going to start with this one because this way is the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
It seems a lot easier to do that, in my experience, than you know, when you're working with one of those larger brick-and-mortar established companies where you have to convince 50 people in the bureaucracy to go change over the other way.
Exactly. I mean, we have, you know, until last year, we didn't have a video team. It was just, you know, all the project tracking that we needed to do was for the engineering team. So we used Assembler, which costs $24, and it's amazing. And can have as many Git repositories as you want, and it's great. It works for us, right? We have a small engineering team, and it's fine. And then here comes the video team, and they're like, that's ugly. I'm like, well, what do you guys use? We like Basecamp. I'm like, cool. You guys almost never talk to each other anyway. At another company, someone would say, we can't have 2 separate project tracking systems. It doesn't, I don't care. It costs $10 more. Like, it doesn't matter. And you guys like it, and you guys never meet, and so it doesn't matter. Use it. So.
Cool. All right, so one of the most common questions I know I get asked all the time as an entrepreneur is, where do I actually start? Because that seems to be the biggest problem I've found for entrepreneurs, just kind of figuring out, like, what are those first couple steps that I'm gonna take to actually get this thing going. So you've got the idea, you don't really know what's next. So Will, based on your experience starting your company, when you first started out and you were thinking, okay, I got an idea, what were your first couple steps that you took to help make it a reality?
Sure. So the first thing that we did once we started building platforms, we were doing things that we thought were cool and trying to pitch those. But I think, you know, what's important in terms of those first steps that you take, you have to think really aggressively. You have to sort of cull down what you're trying to do to something very simple, and then identify who are the types of people that really need that or could use that. So, for instance, we were doing all of these websites and things for record companies and celebrities, so from Pussycat Dolls to Ludacris to you name it. And a friend of mine reached out and said, hey, you guys do stuff on the internet. There's an advertising agency that needs some help with some stuff on the internet. I didn't even know what an advertising agency was. And so I said, yeah, we can figure it out. And so they said, hey, can you do a web banner? And I'm like, what's a web banner? Oh, those things that are on the top of MySpace? Okay, yeah. We could probably do something like that. So we did a couple of those, and then we made like $300 or $400 to do that. And they said, oh, they want you to do this other one. It's kind of a bigger project. So we said, okay, cool. And they said, can you get these web banners done for, I don't know, under 20 grand? And I'm like, I think we can figure that out. So I was like, okay, ad agencies. And then we just started calling ad agencies.
There you go.
And, you know, so I think eyes and ears open, you know, you're on a track. And it's interesting in terms of what those steps are. Van Jones is a guy I really respect and admire, and he talks, he does this kind of piece about being prepared to pivot. And it's really important that in today's economy, in today's marketplace, that not just focusing on your plan and you've got this 1, 2, 3 and you can see it all the way to the end, but really being open. And I think just like the advertising agency's story, a lot of our success has been based on being prepared to pivot. As you'll recall, I was focused on being in entertainment and identified a new opportunity in terms of how technology worked. And then in going down and building websites, then I discovered how online marketing worked. And so those first steps have to be driven by what you think your purpose is, but those steps can't be taken without eyes wide open, identifying opportunities, pivoting, you know, at every turn.
Yeah, you definitely keyed on some one piece of advice that I give to a lot of clients. Do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems to me like the biggest problem is everyone's just kind of staying there scared to take that first step. And like you said, take a step. It's amazing what happens right after that. You just got to take the first one. Okay. All right, Charlene, what do you think are some of the best ways to encourage women to be entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so heard this a little bit during our panel and the one this morning, and I think there are structural changes that need to happen, and we need to constantly push for that no matter what position or what organization you're in. But there's also certainly individual strategies that I think we can all do. I think we've talked about some here from personal experience of taking risks, you know, thinking big, just taking that first step, et cetera. And the point I wanted to key in on too is, you know, help each other, build your networks, right? This is a great event, bringing together all these people with shared interests together. But, you know, things that, you know, I've done that have helped me that I think anyone else can do as well is events like these or other projects or whatever where you think you can get not just potential mentors, but sponsors, people that can actually be in positions to help you facilitate your career, be in the same spot at the same time so you can have those conversations. And also, once you start building these relationships, I heard earlier this morning as well, it's like, do your research. Help make it easy for those mentors and sponsors to help you. Don't just show up and say, hey, help me, right? Like, kind of identify, like, what is it that you need? What is it that would be helpful? And advocate for yourself and ask for those opportunities. And a lot of it's just about asking.
Yeah. And I think we've got time for one more question. So, Phoenix, I know you've definitely had a lot of, let's just call it roadblocks set up against you, based on what you were saying. What were some of the things that you did to actually overcome those roadblocks, to actually gain credibility that you now have?
Interesting question. So personal development first, before we get into business development. Personal development, I spend a lot of time with myself, manifesting. So I build charts and vision boards. They actually really work. I know people think they're kooky, or some people think they're kooky, some don't. The reality is, if you put the work in with yourself first, and the actual energy of the work in, you're actually opening the door to the universe and letting the universe know that you are open to these things. And that is what comes back to you. It's the same saying, if you want to be successful, put yourself with successful people. Don't hang out with people that aren't successful. You're creating the energy in your life so that those things can come back. So that's the personal development side of it. The professional side, business development side of it is that I am a ball buster. I'll say it again, I don't take no for an answer. And I'm quite dead serious about that, in a loving, peaceful, humble way. If you want something in life, you have to go out and get it, okay? And that means I use LinkedIn. It's my best friend. You can say, I go and I search people on LinkedIn, I save their profiles, I have a folder on my desktop, I figure out who's connected to who, how I can be connected to them, how I can get in the door with them, what events are going on, who's gonna be at those events, is valuable for me to be there, and I'm working it. I'm working it every day. And because I do that, again, the energy of that, the universe knows I'm open to it. So people show up in my life on a regular basis. I don't even have to go to network anymore. I'm at the point now where people are calling me on a daily, I can't even keep up with the amount of phone calls that come in. Hey, I got this person you should meet. You should do a demo for this company. Like, we're at that point where I actually now, and I use HubSpot. Even if you're just getting started, it's free to use HubSpot at first. Use it as if you're like building your business development and your kind of pipeline of what you're doing with your business. I use that, and I actually see like qualified to buy, decision makers brought in, contracts sent or proposals sent, and contracts closed. I visually can see like a line item of how much is potentially in the deal flow pipeline. And because I do that, all those things that come into me are tracked in one place, as opposed to writing it all down in a book. I mean, yeah, a book was great when I was younger to get started, but now, I mean, it's 2016. We should be using technology. I'm a technology company. So, those are some of the things. Does that answer the question for you?
Totally.
Okay.
I can't have all that stuff in my head either.
I hope I gave you guys information. But yeah, I mean, those are the things that I think are some of the key things for building, kind of that success or that path to success for yourself. But big one, never take no for an answer. You smile and say, I'll be back.
All right.
Like that.
I like that a lot, too. Okay, so we're going to open it up for a few questions from the audience.
There's a quick you must first go personally where you want to go professional. I have that written up on my...
I'm going to write that down. That's good.
All right, so
totally agree.
you guys are all badasses. That's really the secret sauce, right? Just curious, when you start getting to the place where you need to find talent, right? Because you don't need narrowly scoped folks to come in, because you need people that are wearing multiple hats. How did you make those first steps in picking those players? Because they're crucial, right, as you develop. So just looking at how do you find those people with that magic that can help propel you. But Usually there's not a lot of pay there, right? So just curious how you're enticing talent and what kind of folks you're looking for and where you're looking.
Are you an entrepreneur starting your own company?
Not yet.
So you're trying to put together a team so that you can build a vision?
I'm just in my imagination, but I'm always curious about that because those first few players are going to be key.
Yeah. Well, it's not, yeah. So I'll give you the mistakes that we made. Hopefully those give you some idea. My husband and myself had an idea. We opened that idea up to because we thought, okay, we need other people to come and be a part of this vision with us. Great. Went out and got some mentors, built a prototype, and then found what I thought would be our business partner. So we were like, we're going to give you equity. Well, the reality is equity is a slippery slope. When you offer someone equity, you can't take it back. So the most important thing is be realistic about how much you feel like you need to hold on to. And this, again, charting it out. How much you think you're going to need to raise an investment, what do you think you're going to have to give away for that before you decide on the partners you're going to bring in. So when you bring those partners in, you're realistic about, okay, I have a pool of 10% or 20% that I'm going to give to a group of people that I need because I know I need this many people. And you don't just give it away up front. You say, we are all going to, in this pool together, vest over 4 years, and we're going to draw down this much each year over 4 years. So that way there's performance built in. Because when you just give something to somebody up front and then you expect them to do the work, you're going to be the one who's disappointed because they already got what they wanted and they didn't have to work for it. So that's my advice.
Yeah, I'll just say, and I don't think this is unique to entrepreneurs, it's anybody who's hiring, but be careful not to make the mistake to hire people only for their capabilities, because the whole person comes to work. And I've...
That's a great point.
And that whole person is just as important as their capabilities, if not more. So I always think that it's like a real balance between culture fit, or what you get the spirit of what I'm saying there, and so that includes passion for what you guys are doing, capability to take ability to take accountability, communicate well, these things, and capability. And sometimes you have to have an unbalanced hire. Sometimes you need somebody with such a high level of experience. You might be willing to cut on the other one, but just be sure you have the infrastructure in place to help you manage and lead that person. Then on the other hand, you might have someone with a lot of passion, a lot of heart, but no experience. Those are our best salespeople.
Yep.
So it really depends on the role, and I think you just got to be cognizant of both.
If I could add to that, I couldn't agree with those points more. But even in terms of sourcing talent, what I've found is you have to be as aggressive in recruiting as you are about getting business. So, you know, when people say, oh, how do you go about getting new clients? Well, it's the kitchen sink. It's everything from cold calls to sending out packages to networking to friends and referrals. And so recruiting talent is very much the same. So for us, it's everything from job boards to friends to people we know to sending emails to recruiters, and so in terms of building that pool, it's all of those things. And then once the so you're always hiring, always accepting applications no matter what, and then once people start coming in the door, then refer to that advice on how to meet people.
I have another thing to add about getting started. We only had 5 employees, and we started to need to get some more things done and to want to start recruiting. And so we started an intern program, and would take as many UCLA students as we could find, and gave them meaningful work to do and paid them. Everyone in our intern program has someone that they meet with every week. We offer training, 10 hours of training a quarter for the interns to get to know, what happens in a digital media company across the board, so they're learning what other people are doing too. And 30% of our full-time employees were interns with us first. Yeah. So it really helps you kind of get the sense of what the other options are at the company and grow up through the company that way.
I would also strongly encourage you to hire within your own personal network.
Yeah.
One of the things that I found is when I've worked with someone for a period of time, will always be a more successful hire.
Yep.
Because I know what I'm getting. that knowing what you're getting and mitigate so much risk, it's crazy. Because a lot of people may be able to snow you in an interview, but if you worked with them for 2 years, there's no snowing anybody.
Yeah.
You know what you're getting.
Personal professional network.
And the best piece of advice I've ever received from hiring that has served me really well is don't be afraid to hire someone that is better than you.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. Like,
always want better than you.
Yeah, and I think that's just, it makes sense when you're in it, but to some folks, it's counterintuitive.
No, it's job security.
Yeah, but it is the best thing you can do.
Especially in entrepreneurship. I always say, if everyone on my staff is smarter than me, that means I win. Okay, all right. We've got enough time for one more question from the audience. I'm being told, no, I don't have anything. Okay, sorry about that. Well, I want to say thank you to all of our panelists.
Thank you.